Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. I know it's not Halloween. Alright, that's long past. But when it came to my Halloween videos, I ran out of time and I couldn't upload everything I wanted to. So that's why I'm uploading them past Halloween. But if you stop and look at it like this, at some point in time, it's gonna be Halloween time again, October. So somebody eventually will stumble upon my videos and watch it around Halloween time. So yeah, and I'm here today to talk to you about Evil Dead Rise. So this movie came out in 2023 of this year, back in April. It had a budget of about 15 to 19 million and made about 146 million. This is part of the Evil Dead franchise. And so they came out with a reboot back in 2013, I believe it was. And it had mixed reception from some fans. Some people really liked it, some others don't. And so with this movie now, I'm not sure if this movie is technically canon with the rest of the original Evil Dead movies and stuff. Now, Bruce Campbell does reprise his role as Ash, but only in audio form, just like he did at the end of the 2013. His voice is on the recording that they play. And the director of this movie, is Lee Crowan. He says that when you hear Ash's voice, it's supposed to depict him being in the future at the end of the television series. So I don't know if that's really canon or not, or this is his own universe, because nobody knows the 2013 movie is even canon to everything else. So I really don't know. And so this is the second Evil Dead movie to be filmed entirely in New Zealand. Rob Tappert and Sam Raimi, who are producers, they always film their stuff over there, except for the Spider-Man movies. But and the Marvel stuff. But pretty much every time they have a TV show or something like that, they film over in New Zealand because, it's a whole lot cheaper and stuff. This is why you see so many, this is why you hear so many people with American accents, but it sounds like, they have a foreign accent because it slips. And in this movie, boy, their accents slip a lot. I am always hearing Kiwi or that's New Zealand, Kiwi accents or Australian accents coming out in this. Pretty much the entire cast is New Zealand or Australian, except for the actress who plays Bridget, Gabrielle. From what I read, she's from America. And of course, Bruce Campbell, who did the audio and stuff, he's from America and stuff. But everybody else is from either New Zealand or Australia. And it really shows in their accents. It really shows in their accents and stuff. And so, this is the first, Evil Dead to ever depict that of a family. It's also the first Evil Dead that, the setting is not, a cabin in the woods in, the Carolinas, but instead in Los Angeles. And I think this is an apartment. I don't think it's a hotel. I'm pretty sure this is an apartment. And so, that's really different because that's never been done before. And it's really, really interesting. And so, when it comes to the Evil Dead, also, this is the first, Evil Dead movie, not show, but movie to have, character from, a character that's, whatchamacallem, Mari and everything, because there's a man in here who has a brief role. He's one of the neighbors, and he's of Mari descent. The television show had people like that because, they filmed in New Zealand, but with the first three movies, they were not filmed over in New Zealand. Maybe the third, I'm not really 100% sure. But, the first two movies wasn't. And so, this is also the first movie to have, a Hispanic character. I'm pretty sure Gabrielle is Hispanic. This is also, the first movie that has, a trans actor in here. The person who plays Danny is a trans man. And but I don't think he plays a trans person in the movie. I think he just plays a regular teenage boy and stuff. And so this is the first for the franchise. When it comes to the Evil Dead, I got into this franchise because of the television show. That's the first thing I ever saw. And so after that, I decided to watch all the movies, and I fell in love with the first two movies. The third one is weird. I just don't understand the third one. I really, really don't. I'm always, to me, I always feel like every movie is in its own universe. But then in the show, they decide, okay, all the movies are canon, even though the first two movies are technically the same. I just don't get the third one. And as for the 2013 one, I just don't like that. My problem with the 2013 is that it tried too much to be like the original movie, but also tried to be more gory with the blood and this and that, and the characters were unlikable. And whenever I saw things that were similar to the original movie, I'm just kind of the original movie did it better. And so the TV show was awesome, and it's gonna be hard to top that of the television show because the television show did a lot of stuff. The whole Pablo being possessed by the book and stuff like that. And that's where I have a problem with this movie. I do not hate this movie, but at the same time, I don't personally like this movie. To me, this is just a generic movie. It's a movie that just goes by way too fast, and it's 90-minute runtime. And the thing that I have a problem with this movie is that of the television show. The television show did so many unique and clever things that when this movie came out, it's just them trapped in their apartment and their mom's a deadite. And that's literally it. And, there are homages to the original movie, like the double barrel shotgun and the chainsaw that don't make no sense. I don't understand why there's a chainsaw in an apartment building. I just don't get that. But anyways, and so it's not a terrible movie by no means. It just feels so mid, and it feels so modern in the sense that it's generic. Not only that, but okay, one of the problems I had with the Evil Dead 2 actually, and also that of the 2013 movies, is the Deadites. They look too human looking. One of the cool things, the first movie, that first movie will always be my favorite. The thing with the first movie is that the makeup prosthetics looked very monstrous. You can tell somebody got possessed in a very monstrous looking way. There was blood, there was pus, and they didn't really overdo it that much. And the movie lingered on all the pus and blood coming out. So, it took a long time for it all run out. And it had a unique vibe to it. In this movie, however, I'm sorry, but the mom just looks normal to me. Just her face is pale, there's some redness around her eyes, some veins here and there, and her hair is wet. I don't get it. The Deadites just look like normal humans and stuff. They look like humans, but you could tell that something's wrong with them, but they still look very human. And to me, that's not really all that scary and stuff. That's not going to make you want to jump out your seat and hoot and holler and everything. But where in the first movie, it was very, very distinct of how they look. Even to the point that when they transformed in the first two movies, you couldn't really tell who was who. You know what I'm saying? Unless one was male and one was female. But when it came to the females, it was kind of hard to tell who was who. Here, you can totally tell who is who and everything. And that's just a disappointment for me because I want something that looks more monstrous and ghouly and everything. And not just so generic, like demon possessed, like, like a zombie vampire looking thing. Now, one minor problem I do have is the lighting is very dark. Like everything is dark in this movie. The apartment, just no matter where you go, the club, like no matter where you go, it's just dark. And so there's no real color in this movie. But when there is color, it's like grimy, dingy, ugly, like dark, almost inkish type colors and stuff, which does give it a vibe that show that, hey, look, this is a rundown apartment, but everything is that color. And so when all the blood starts splashing that way, which is overdone, it's dark red, it's almost black and everything. And I don't really like that. But like, the thing with me is the television show, man. The television show did so many unique things that like this movie did start in a good direction, but then ultimately it just felt very generic and bland. Cause see, I've always wanted a family in the Evil Dead franchise to have like, their own movie. It's a family. They have to fight the Deadites, this and that. But I wanted it in the cabin and everything. That cabin, there's something about that wooden cabin that's so special and unique and horrifying that where the apartment really didn't do it. Now, they could have done it with the apartment if they would have went all around the apartment and not just that one room and not just the hallway and not just the little parking garage thing. And, I do like the fact that, there are other people trying to help out, like the neighbors and stuff, but they don't last long in the movie. And so I got what I wanted with the whole family aspect. It's just, I don't like this family and stuff. See, I don't want to say let me explain, because that's that one dude's catchphrase, but like, let me just explain what I mean exactly. I can't get no other way around that. Okay, so when the movie starts off, there are a completely different cast. It's two girls and a guy. The guy has like a drone and he's flying it around. That gives that optical illusion of like, the spirits like moving around like the forest, like in the first movie and stuff. But it's just him and his drone. And so one of the girls is talking to another girl and she gets scalped by that girl, which, oh my God, you feel that scalp. Like, I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, oh my God. I'm like, what the heck is happening? So this right here told me, yo, this is not going to be like your other, like, Evil Dead movies. Because somebody's already possessed by a deadite in the beginning and we don't know how. It's kind of like Scream 6 when the killer got revealed in the first couple of minutes. So I'm like, okay, I'm digging this vibe. Like, this is something different. But the scalp girl is still alive. So I'm all like, okay, maybe they'll just reattach her hair by sewing it up. You know what I'm saying? And her flesh and skin and stuff like that. So she goes out there and that one girl has her back to it, which I've noticed the Deadites in this always have their backs turned to people as they're talking to them. It's different, it's unique, and it does give a different vibe than what the other movies did. And I can dig that. Like, I was digging that vibe, you know what I'm saying? Until they overdid it with every Deadite and everything. Now, of course, when they're at the lake, the one girl pulls that one dude in and, kills them and then kills the girl and all this other crap. And then we get the title card sequence. The title card sequence is cinematic gold, in my opinion. It caught my attention. It kept my eyes glued to the screen. And I was like, oh man, if they can do this like greatness in the first couple of minutes, oh, the rest of the movie is gonna be awesome. Cause that title card sequence with her rising from like the water and like the letters big and red and flash, I'm like, dude, that is a vibe. And so how else is the rest of the movie gonna vibe? Well, then it shows us what happened a couple of hours into the past. And then I was just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Because my problem with that was, one, even though we don't know nothing about these three characters, we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the movie. And we know that they're going to be in the you feel sorry for them. Like you feel sorry for them. They're in like, a bright setting. They seem like nice people. The guy's a joker. The one girl's like really nice. And then there's the possessed girl. And it's like, what led up to her being possessed? You know what I'm saying? So already you have that connection in that bond and you want to see it and stuff for the rest of the movie and see how they got to that point. Well, the movie decides not to do that. It introduces us to completely new characters. This is when the dark, light setting comes in and everything like that. Now, when it comes to the original Evil Dead movies, we don't really know nothing about the side characters and everything, other than Ash. And in fact, even we don't know nothing about Ash in the first movie. They're very 80s written, you know what I'm saying? No explanation, no nothing. They try to do a little bit further explanation in the second, but you still don't get much. All we ever really know is that they're friends. Ash has a sister. Some of them are dating each other, and that's about it. Other than that, we don't know nothing about them. And so with the television show and stuff like that, they really started to explain things a whole lot more. And, because we was in a different time then, you have to explain this stuff. Then, so in the movie, you don't really get that much about these new characters other than what you just see. So it's taking that 80s thing. And the problem with that is this ain't the 80s no more, So I would like a little bit more explanation when it comes to these characters and get to know them a whole lot more. What I see is what I just don't like because they're very unlikable. Now, the family isn't that bad or that annoying. They're just so odd and slightly annoying and everything. It's like, you got the mom, and I don't know what the heck she does, but she's soldering some wire into something. And I'm not even sure what it is she's doing. You got the brother who's like a DJ and stuff like that, who's hard-headed. You have the older sister or a middle sister. I don't know. I don't even know who's the oldest here. And it's like, I think she was going downtown to a parade, to protest or something like that. And then you have the little girl who's just so morbid. She reminds me of Sid from Toy Story, but nicer. And everything. And then you have the aunt who just travels with bands and got pregnant and don't know what she's gonna do, and the family's getting kicked out their apartment because the place is getting torn down and they don't know what they're gonna do. So it's just kind of it's just kind of mopey setting and everything. It's not fun like it was in the first two movies and stuff, where it's you have these group of friends, they just going to hang out at a cabin, and they're just having a good old time. And not like the second one where Ash wants to take his girlfriend and literally breaks into some man's cabin and everything. It's there's not no happy moment with them. And then it's they go to get the pizza, and then there's that earthquake, and the brother, he's going down and he finds a vault, and he starts taking, I think, some coins, and there's a bunch of crosses everywhere, and then he finds the book. And the sister is just a little annoying because she's always having to be that older sister who has to tell somebody what to do because he's just so hard-headed, and everything is literally his fault. If he never went and got that book. And so then they have the I forgot what kind of because discs these are called, where you play music like a record disc, and it's just kind of plot armor. What is the odds that a family's gonna have a disc playing machine to play those old-fashioned discs? What are the odds that's gonna happen in 2023? Seriously. And I'm just in disbelief by that. And so it's weird. I'm getting what I want. I always wanted the family to take on the Deadites and stuff like that. But, my setting in my head was, okay, from 1980 to the 2010s, that cabin has been there in the woods. And if Ash and his people found it, other people have too. Maybe somebody else rented it out. And, who's renting this thing out? And, we could see through the decades who's been going in that house with the Deadites being around and them having to fight us. That's what I wanted it and everything. And the cabin is a whole scarier like vibe than that apartment. And the apartment was made to look grungy. Like it has that dark, inky, metal-ish color too because of the dark setting. Also, what's weird about this movie is that it has about the same runtime as the original movies, but a whole lot more was done in the original movies than in this movie. Because it's weird. Because, like, okay, once that boy plays like the music with the record, and it says the incarnation, and then all the spooky stuff starts happening. The mom gets like attacked, and then she dies, and then she turns into a deadite, and her voice is the exact same as every other Deadite in this movie. And I don't like that. I like when their voices are different. I also like when they look different. I also like when they act different. And so basically it just spends the entire movie with her trying to attack the family. Then when she gets taken out outside in the hall, then she's attacking people in the hallway. And the problem with that is I do like the visual of them looking through the peephole, but that's what you see for the longest period of time. It would have been nice to move from the peephole and actually see what's going on, because she kills a little boy. She bites the eye out that man. And speaking of that man, the Maree man, like when she died, he's all like, can I say a few, like, can we pray and everything? And the sister's all like, no, she's not religion. He's like, it's just a few words. I'm like, dude, who are you to oppose your religion on somebody? I can't stand when people do that. I don't care if a person's religious. I don't care if they pray in their head. But don't oppose your religious views on other people. People don't like that and stuff. And, it reminds me of The Walking Dead in season 4. In the first episode, when they got attacked, and this one dude who was new died, who was kind of dating Beth, and Carl was making crosses, and he's all like, well, what's his name, Christian or whatever? He's all like, I think he was studying atheism. So then Carl just like took the cross and threw it away. He didn't want to oppose their religious view on him. So anyways, he gets taken out. Then the old man, the British dude who's a New Zealand actor. I've seen that man in so much stuff, mostly in Power Rangers and things like that. But I've seen him in other things. And so he shoots the crap out of her. But we don't see her get hit, but she's taken out. He goes a little closer and she yanks him, and then she kills him off screen. And I'm just like, dude, all the cool stuff is happening off screen in this teeny tiny little peephole and everything. And that's not fun whatsoever. The original movie was so much fun because the Deadites were interacting with people, scaring the piss out of them, chasing them around, trying to kill them, seeing people fight them off, and you don't get that for this amount of time. So then she goes back into the house because she sneaks in through the ventilation shaft, which I don't know how she got in there. And speaking of which, okay, look, they should have made her look more monstrous because she still looks relatively the same and still hot. It's like, dude, I get it. You got those mommy moves and everything, but it's kind of like, I bet you can hit it harder with those demonic demon moves and stuff because she still looks hot as a demon and everything. So I'm not scared whatsoever. It's just like somebody like dressed up for Halloween who just happens to be like a Playboy star or something like that. Anyway, so she sneaks in and she starts attacking the family. And so then she not kills, but she affects the older daughter, or just the older daughter, yeah. And so she turns into a dead-eyed. And like I said before, I do like the vibe of them when they have their back turned to them and they're just talking in that demonic form. That's really neat and that's really interesting, but they do that every time. And then so at some point the boy gets attacked and he dies. And so then, the little girl and the aunt have to like escape. And she takes the rifle and everybody else starts to awake and she has to like kill them. The elevator scene with all the blood was really cool, but then what really shocked and surprised the crimson waves out of me was when they started digging into the mom, because it was like, it's weird because the kids are like going back to their mom demonic and everything. That's like, oh, they really are a family still. And then they start digging into it, like, what the heck are they doing? And then I do like when everything's happening, the pages turn to show you, hey, this is what's gonna happen. And it's like that thing with multiple arms and everything. It's like, dude. But this movie does take a lot of homages to the original movie, like the shotgun, um, chewing out the eyeball and then spitting it into somebody's mouth. What is it like? The blood gushing on them for like a really long time. Um, Something else, I forget. Something else was an homage to the original, but I forgot what it was. But anyways, now I remember how she got the chainsaw. It was in somebody's van. I guess they did like gardening or something like that. So, like as that thing's coming around, we see the monster take the chainsaw, which is different. I'm like, wow, wasn't expecting that. Now the chainsaw is ugly. It's yellow. Like, what the? It's like this dark lighting, all this blood everywhere, and it's just a yellow, ugly little chainsaw. But then she gets a hold of it, and she starts like attacking them with it, and then it's like that one machine that like cuts people's bodies up, and the little girl's funny. You gotta give it up to her and stuff. And she pulls like the lever, and then she fights the person with like the monster with like the chainsaw. It's all like only my sister get to call me that and everything like that. And then, like, after it's done, she picks up the chainsaw for some bizarre reason, just walks away with the girl. And I'm just kind of like, why did she take the chainsaw with her? It's like, I get it. She's kind of like the new Ash, but it's just like, I'm not feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not feeling her as like the hero and everything of the movie because I just was not expecting that. Because it's like at the very end of the movie, that's much because it's weird. Like throughout the entire movie, nobody's really fighting the demon, really. You know what I'm saying? It's just like they go for like half an hour with nobody really trying to fight the demon. And then all of a sudden, towards the end, that's when we get the fighting. And it's very brief. So I was like, I want to see some fighting in this movie, man. I want to see some real survival and not just everybody screaming and hollering and then running and stuff. And then, of course, we get the girl at the end and everything, and that sets up the beginning part of the movie when she was possessed at the lake. And I was like, oh, there she is. I'm all like, now they bring her in, so like what, is she gonna be in the sequel or not, or like what? Because I don't think this is connected to none of the other four movies. This has to be its own standalone thing and everything. But then again, there are multiple books of the dead from the third movie, so I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But the one thing that kept getting me is like everybody in this movie reminded me of another star, and I just could not picture where I knew them from. So it kept like throwing me off every time I kept looking at them. The aunt looked like, Maggie from The Walking Dead. The mom looked like a red-headed version from that lady from Lex. Remember that sci-fi show? And the sci-fi was like a weird bug thing they flew in, like a spaceship and everything. The daughter reminded me of, I think, that one person from the Deadpool movies and also the Exorcist TV show. The guy reminded me of the people from Motocross. And the little girl just looked like every other little girl in all these horror movies and stuff. Like she looked like what was it, Judy Grimes from The Walking Dead, or whatever her name is. Like she just looks like every girl from every horror movie. So the movie isn't like terrible per se. Like if it was just a standalone thing, a different name, it would have been like more okay. But since it's called The Evil Dead, it's just like, I don't know, man. Just something feels off. That's it. Just something feels incomplete. It doesn't necessarily scream Evil Dead to me. As much as I didn't like the 2013, it was more faithful to the original because it was basically copy and paste with a little stuff twisted here and there. And, but it's just like, I think what it was, it's hard for me to get like a grasp on the family because they're not that likable and everything. Like in the original movie, like I said, like, those group of friends were like really entertaining and really nice and very normal and everything. And here, they start off with, bad Sorry about that, my camera died. But it's just like, the family just had like, it was just they was just like, I don't know, had like this bad vibe to him because so much stuff was bad happening to him with the aunt getting pregnant and probably don't even know who the daddy is probably, and then the family because it was weird. The brothers and sisters, um, it's weird. They don't get along, but then they do because they do love each other. Like when the girl pissed off the other girl, and then they started all like rolling around and having fun, and what I'm saying, like so they do like each other, but it's just like I don't know. The introduction was just kind of off. You know what I'm saying? And this movie does have some whimsy in it for humor, not overly too much humor. Because that's one thing that kind of gets me with the Evil Dead when there's too much humor. But I don't want it to be dry and completely serious like the 2013 one. That's one of the things that bug me. Like you need a little whimsy in it. And thank God for the little girl because she was the comedic relief and everything. And I forget there was some line she said that not the pee line, like she thought she peed on herself. Like, is it warm? Like, no, it's cold. But it's probably soda. But it was the line when she's talking about, are we dead? 'Cause she walked up from the elevator and covered in blood. And she literally thought, that they was dead and stuff. But like Bruce Campbell did say, like, if this movie does well, which it made a lot of money, so they plan on making a sequel. And thankfully he did say, there won't be a sequel every 20 or 30 years, that they'll try to do it like, every like 3 to 4 and everything. I hope they keep changing it around. Now that the family's gone, I don't want to see the little girl or the aunt come back as like the heroes of the next movie. I wanted to keep going with like a different like cast, a different setting and stuff like that. Probably even another country. Because this is my thing. If your cast is entirely New Zealand and Australian, why not just have the movie set over there? Then they could have used their real accents because some of their like accents started like to come through as they talk. And it was pretty noticeable and everything. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.